Welcome back to America Decides. Voters in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, it's just north of Philadelphia, now have until Friday to apply for or receive a mail ballot after the Trump campaign filed a lawsuit alleging some who sought a ballot were briefly turned away. Our own Natalie Brand has all the details.
Major, as you know, Bucks County is one of the most competitive and critical swing counties outside Philadelphia here in Pennsylvania. The voters here are divided, but they're also equally eager to get their votes and ballots in early. And that's why yesterday, outside of this county building, there were lines around the block on what had been the last day to fill out an application for an absentee or mail-in ballot. The county says it was taking about 12 minutes to process people inside the building. So many people were left waiting. They were frustrated by the situation. Voters we talked to say it appeared as though the elections workers were just overwhelmed by the crowds that they experienced. Well, the Trump campaign sued, saying that people were turned away ahead of the deadline. And today, a judge sided with the campaign and ruled that the deadline can be extended for people to apply for a mail-in ballot through November 1st, through close of business on November 1st. That is Friday. County officials here are expecting long lines once again, as the message of vote early seems to be resonating with people trying to do just that. Back to you.
On the scene for us, Natalie Brand, thank you very much. The Bucks County Board of Elections office released a statement just a few moments ago saying, in part, quote, "In accordance with today's court ruling, we are pleased to be able to offer additional days for those who are still seeking to vote on demand." Democratic Congressman Brendan Boyle joins us now from Capitol Hill. He represents Pennsylvania's 2nd Congressional District. Congressman, good to see you. Your reaction to the 48 hours that have just passed in Bucks County and the legal challenges and resolution thereof.
Well, it's great to be back with you, Major. And Bucks County happens to be just right above my district, all of a few minutes from my house. It is a county that's very much a swing one in suburban Philadelphia, though I'd point out Joe Biden won it and won it fairly decisively in 2020. I expect it to be close in 2024. I have to say, however, I find this new position of the Trump campaign rather confusing after spending years and years of bashing mail-in voting, calling it fraudulent, alleging ballots were coming from China or from Italy, if you recall, and all over the world. Now suddenly they actually want deadlines extended, even though the reason why we have that 1 week before Election Day deadline is because the Republican-controlled state legislature in Pennsylvania mandated it. So the reality is there's no consistency with Donald Trump. There's no consistency with his campaign except for this. He either wins the election, or any election in which he loses, he alleges fraud, whether it was the 2020 presidential campaign or even going all the way back to the 2016 Iowa Republican caucuses that he lost to Ted Cruz. Any race that he has ever lost, he has said he has cheated and that it was fixed. The reality is Donald Trump is lying and has continued to lie all the way throughout the last decade of his political career.
And it appears this has all been resolved. And what was, according to Bucks County officials, and I covered them in the 2020 campaign, I found them to be responsive and very oriented towards serving the public. There was a huge line. There was a miscommunication about whether or not you could still stand on that line. But even those who were told they couldn't were given the procedures in order to either obtain what they came to or cast their ballot. So miscommunication, now resolved. Your overall assessment?
Yeah, you know, as depressing as the big lie was in 2020 and the shameful insurrection that was incited by former President Trump on this very building, I will say if there's an inspiring message from the whole 2020 saga, it is the way so many Republican-appointed judges as well as local Republican elections officials, including Al Schmidt in Philadelphia and those election officials throughout PA, really went against their party's interests and went against the president of their own party to do the right thing. It was a situation in which the system held More than 60 lawsuits were filed by Donald Trump. Many of them were in front of Republican-appointed judges. He lost every single one of those lawsuits. I just am keeping my fingers crossed that the system will prove as resilient in 2024 in dealing with his fraudulent claims as it did in 2020.
How does Pennsylvania feel to you, Congressman?
You know, about 9 months ago, even when we had a different Democratic presidential nominee, I said I thought Pennsylvania was destined to be 50-50. It was roughly a 50-50 race in 2016, decided by under a percentage point. It was roughly a 50-50 race in 2020, decided by 1 percentage point. And I think we're right smack dab, even with a different Democratic presidential nominee, even with everything that has happened this year, I think that Pennsylvania is almost predetermined to be a 1 point or less race.
Our poll has it 49-49, as you know, but our Senate poll has Senator Casey up 6 points. Do you find it difficult to reconcile those two sets of numbers?
6 points, to be candid. Look, I'll take a 1 point victory in both. And Bob Casey has been a great United States senator, comes from a legendary political family in Pennsylvania. But I think both sides would tell you that 6 points in either the presidential or Senate race sounds very high to me. I've always thought that Senator Casey would run a few points ahead of other Democrats running statewide. I still expect that. So I would expect him to win and probably do about 2 to 3 points better than other Democrats who are running statewide for the first time in PA.
Congressman, several Democrats I've talked to in Pennsylvania believe that the outcome of the state writ large will be found in Bucks County, Chester County, Delaware County, and Montgomery County, those counties wrapping right around Pennsylvania. And they expect, if Kamala Harris is to succeed, a huge run-up of the vote total there. Is that your expectation as well?
Well, you know, in a 1 point election, just like a 1 point game in sports, any one of a number of things, any one of about 100 things could end up, in retrospect, making the difference. So all of these counties matter. All of these demographics matter. If you are on election night, though, just looking for 1 or 2 counties to focus in on and give you an idea of how the state is going, I agree. Bucks is one of the ones that I would look at. The other one that I would look at is Erie County, which is hundreds of miles away, closer to Cleveland than it is to Philadelphia. It is one of only 2 counties that Donald Trump won in 2016 and then Joe Biden won in 2020. I think the combination of those two, one in the suburbs of Philadelphia, one in northwestern PA, will give you a pretty early indication of where the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is going.
And I'll add Luzerne and Lackawanna counties to that as well. Congressman Brendan Boyle, very much thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.